There have been rumors that Hillary Clinton has her body doubles. She and her campaign haven't acknowledged those claims. And so-called conspiracy theorists have been unable to show any objective evidence. It seems that no one has come up with scientific evidence to show the existence of fake Hillary. I'm going to show that the woman who appeared in public events as Hillary Clinton was a different person or persons from Hillary. I prove that with objective and numerical evidence that will surely fulfill the requirement for such extraordinary claim. In order to tell the fake from the genuine, we need to have the indisputable genuine beforehand. Needless to say, we treat only visual records, that is, pictures and videos. So we need to have such authentic originals. Do we have any? Of course, we have. The method we apply is very simple. Stunningly simple. What we use is eye-tooth ratio. Eye-tooth ratio doesn't change by age in normal cases. It can be considered immutable for life. We can calculate the ratio simply by measuring the distance between two eyes and the distance to the frontal upper teeth from the line connecting the two eyes. Exactly speaking, the word eye means the center of pupil here. The ratio can be expressed by a vertical rectangle. This ratio is not so unique as fingerprints. Far from it. Remember that the ratio is denoted in only 3 digits, such as 1.18 or 1.25, and the first digit is always 1. Moreover, the second digit can be only from 0 to 3, that is, only 4 variables. Only the third digit has full stretch of 0 to 9. So eye-tooth ratio has very limited range. Many people share the same ratio, of course, having completely different looking faces. Roughly speaking, it's like height of people. Many people share the same height. The same height is no proof that two persons are one and the same person. So eye-tooth ratio doesn't sound especially useful to distinguish the original from the fake. Actually, this ratio has its strong points and weak points. The first weak point is that having the same ratio doesn't mean the same person. Of course, it's because it can be shared by many people. The first strong point is that having different ratio means that the two are completely different people no matter how much alike they may look. So we are supposed to find out the difference of ratios to prove the two persons in the visual records are different beyond all doubt. And it is possible. The second strong point is that we don't care about facial impressions at all. We can, or rather we should say, we should, forget about facial images. We don't have to compare each facial characteristic of the two persons in pictures. We only have to measure eye-tooth ratios alone. Very simple job. And this procedure often reveals unexpected results. Eye-tooth ratio is independent of emotional facial expressions. Eye-tooth ratio is based on 2 lengths. One is the distance between the centers of the both eyes. This distance is almost immutable and reliable. Even plastic surgery can't alter the position of eyeballs. No surgeon would dare to perform such operation that may entail tremendous risk not only on the patient but also on his own professional career. The other length is determined by the edge of the upper teeth. Unless the person in question doesn't replace the teeth with the ones with a different length, this length could be considered very stable and almost immutable. But the face to be measured must show frontal upper teeth. As long as the teeth are visible, they present themselves as a solid foothold in our research. The bottom line of the rectangle should be placed at the place where it scarcely touches the edge of the teeth on purpose. If it does, the line will obfuscate the edge where the teeth end. Eye-tooth ratio can reveal unexpected difference between faces which most people consider the same. Simply put, it can expose fakes where people expect the genuine one to be. The ratio is by definition numerical values. Even if the two values under inspection are different, the difference can be very small. When the two values are very close and within error range, it is difficult to decide. But when the difference is above error range and can be considered substantial, the verdict is irreversible. The difference of ratio really matters much. Is the difference small or big? If it is within error range, we might be able to ignore it. But if it is beyond error range, we should take it into account. And if similar cases happen more than twice, we can't ignore them at all. We should assume there is some substantial difference there. The more the data, the more reliable is the ratio, of course. But only one face picture taken right in front with visible teeth and can give us a fairly reliable ratio. Some people may think that the degree of mouth aperture will influence the ratio. It's wrong because the degree of mouth aperture is varied only by the jaw. Just imagine a window blind. The vertical length is changed only by raising or lowering the bottom edge. The top edge of the blind simply doesn't participate in the adjustment of vertical length of the blind. So no matter how wide open the mouth is in a face picture, it doesn't affect the ratio in the least. One case of sufficiently different ratio is enough to call a person a fake. And if there are more similar cases about the same person on the same day, it is impossible to make an appeal. The person is finished. Consistently smaller ratio, that is, shorter rectangle in every picture demonstrates fake beyond all doubts. People are stealthily manipulated by mainstream media incessantly daily. We are led to believe what we are exposed by TV and newspapers so systematically. They are even using the internet recently. The internet is no sanctuary. Visual images, above all, are especially powerful, and such subliminal propaganda. Yes, they are propaganda which are highly sophisticated and calibrated to be swallowed pleasantly. General public is so defenseless and gullible like children that you can brain cook them as you want as long as you have enough money to spend on. Every fake would be exposed soon if presented alone without any background and context. So every fake needs sufficient context to be planted in. Lies and fakes can be fed into people's brain if they are properly planted in consistent background, which appear very seamless and natural. Mass deception in current days presupposes such total orchestration, which has been enabled by contemporary computer technology. Simply put, with money and technology you can flood people and soak their brains completely with lies and fakes. Contemporary propaganda is invisible. It's not noticed as such by ordinary people. Paradoxically, it's always visible and even noisily visible in the disguise of nice appearance and sweet taste. And people are almost addicted to them. It's like delicious junk food. People consume deceptive information sent via TV and newspapers just as they consume unhealthy junk food sold in supermarkets. TV is junk food. Junk food is TV. There are some people who are very careful what they eat. Some are vegetarians and some are vegans. Predictably, such people tend to be critical of mainstream media. But even those people sometimes swallow fakes and lies on mainstream media thoughtlessly. How about you? In 1994, Richard Nixon said, "The American people don't believe anything until they see it on television." Well said. Indeed. And we could say now, the American people believe any fake if they see it on television. To know the truth is in many cases embarrassing because it is to admit you have been wrong. So, wise people avoid the smell of the truth to stay undisturbed by necessary correction. They become wiser and end up in a self-righteous small world. People often misunderstand the principles of eye-tooth ratio. The first principle says the ratio becomes meaningful when the ratios are sufficiently different. In that case, we can say the two persons are completely different. The second principle says when the ratios are almost the same, we are left undecided whether the two persons in question are the same or different. Do you understand? We can't rule out one of two possibilities. We remain undecided. Two persons in pictures can be different even with the same ratio. People are fooled not because the visual image actually looks indistinguishably similar to the original. After knowing the truth, everybody agrees that fake one actually looks different from the original. They're fooled simply because they are totally defenseless against malicious fabrication and deceptive manipulation. They simply expect no evil intent or no malice out there. They simply swallow what they are fed by TV and newspapers. General public is like innocent babies. So it's not so difficult to make general public swallow fakes. Fakes need not be so perfect because situational necessity urge people to swallow fakes without doubting or checking. Such situation is systematically orchestrated by mainstream media. When the chairman introduces Hillary Clinton, it must be Hillary Clinton. Before his introduction, people have already expectation to see her. Babies are hungry and feeding bottles are thrust. Fake is a lie. And the bigger a lie, the more unlikely to be exposed. Only rich people can afford such a big lie to overcome their hidden trouble. Well-orchestrated fake is necessary to hide scandalous unavailability of the original. The original might be hardly functional or simply might not exist any longer. There seem to be more than one fake Hillary. Of course, only one appears on the same day, but another may appear on a different event a few weeks later. Might sound like a very risky schedule, but there's no problem because people will interpret the difference as a result of cosmetics. It takes tremendous cost and intricate schedule management to execute such a multiple fake operation. It's a grand hoax to be conducted with highest secrecy. The potential fake Hillarys must have been searched via various channels and offered a huge amount of reward. 3 basic agreements must have been made. Firstly, agreement of undergoing plastic surgery. It would have been impossible to pass as Hillary without some amount of plastic surgery. That means throwing away their own faces to become much more Hillary-like. Hillary Clinton can afford to pay as much as they want for reward. Second agreement must have to take intensive lessons to be able to behave and talk like Hillary. Without such good amount of training, it would have been impossible to pass as Hillary even after plastic surgery. Third agreement is, needless to say, strict gag order. Their lives are under constant surveillance of undercover spies. Hillary is a very suspicious woman and never fails to have them spied and reported. You may wonder why use fakes at the risk of such possible disclosure. Hillary is actually very ill and has been much less functional as the commander-in-chief of a superpower on the globe. She knows it. So she desperately needed dummies to hide her own inconvenient reality in order to be the first female president of the United States.
Secretary Clinton.
Woo! Okay.
Many people were actually embarrassed to see young-looking Hillary. But they had no choice but to let the show go on. Cosmetics? Or facelifts? Botox? Yes, because of them. They tried to convince themselves at heart. What else could they think of? That woman really looks like Hillary for a different person. And she is in fact introduced as Hillary Clinton. The whole situation is orchestrated to make people accept the woman as real Hillary Clinton. Nobody around you seems to care about the same problem that you have. But actually many people found something was wrong. Despite such normal reaction, all the people are washed away by the flood of lies and fakes produced by mainstream media. Everybody thought she looked strangely younger, but people were swamped by flooding situational consistency. Very few people would say, wait. Something is wrong. It doesn't add up. TV would not allow you to stop and check. It simply washes away viewers, drowning them in fictional realities up to ears. From the beginning, To watch TV itself is to be carried away by fictional realities. Most people feels good to be swamped and carried away in that way. Even when they are looking at still pictures at their leisure time, their brains are already cooked by the working of whole mainstream media. People are brain cooked to be acceptive to what they are fed via mainstream media. Mainstream media are incessantly bombarding and brain-cooking general public with calculated palatable stories and images. That's the main functions of mainstream media, that is, TV, newspapers and magazines and their affiliated internet sites. This lady who impersonates Hillary Clinton is actually far more likable than the original. Maybe that's one of the reasons this lady was hired. She is charming and confident with relaxed smile and jokes. Incredibly smooth and natural for an impersonator. In fact, people thought they were witnessing a new side of Hillary Clinton watching her on TV. 69 years old and with that youthful smile. Many people must have automatically attributed that to cosmetics. What actress in Hollywood can perform as perfect as she does on TV with such a record-breaking rating? Who in Hollywood can make the whole nation glued to TV so many hours? We need to know who she is. Her real name and her background.